Kanye West is someone who's always pushing the boundaries of creativity. Like when he dropped the huge hit My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then just a few years later doing a complete 180 and dropping the polarizing experimental album Yeezus. Or even how he cemented himself as not only one of the best musicians to ever live, but also one of the most influential fashion designers ever. But what if I told you that this success Kanye has seen isn't completely a one-man solo effort? There's someone else lurking behind the scenes who no one knows about. So unknown that no one's ever even seen his face. But more on that later. When Kanye first entered the fashion world, everyone took him as a joke. But you think that stopped Kanye? No. He stuck with it, created his first Yeezy line, and set up multiple fashion shows until eventually he was sitting atop a billion-dollar fashion line. A word that gets tossed around often when talking about Kanye is visionary. It seems that he sees things and predicts trends that no one else can. The definition of the word itself, someone with original ideas about what the future will or could be like, does describe Kanye's resume of work. But to achieve this visionary status, he's had some help. Along the way, Kanye's had partners, colleagues, and friends inspire and help him. A prime example of this is Virgil Abloh, who Kanye named as the head of his creative agency Donda back in 2010. A year prior, both Virgil and Kanye were actually interns at Fendi, which is actually pretty funny to think about Kanye West as an intern. Nevertheless, Kanye's creative agency Donda was publicly announced by Ye in 2012 through, of course, a manic series of tweets. Those tweets read, "Donda will galvanize amazing thinkers and put them in a creative space to bounce their dreams and ideas, comprised of over 22 divisions with a goal to make products and experiences that people want and can afford." Ye went on to tweet out, "We're assembling a team of architects, graphic designers, directors, musicians, producers, A&Rs, writers, publicists, social media experts, app guys, managers, car designers, clothing designers, DJs, video game designers, publishers, tech guys, lawyers, bankers, nutritionists, doctors, scientists, and teachers." So basically, you have a profession? Well, yeah, we got that over at Donda. As an agency, Donda would go on to be the mastermind behind some of the most iconic covers within hip-hop culture, like 2013's Yeezus, Cuddy's rock album Wizard, ASAP's Long Live ASAP, and Push's My Name Is My Name. Donda even released a film for the good music album Cruel Summer, where Kid Cudi played a car thief who falls in love with a blind Arabian princess. It was played only one time at Cannes Film Festival and was displayed on 7 different screens showing various angles of the same shot. Although met with subpar reviews, the presentation of it was very creative and provided a glimpse into the mind of Donda. One of the biggest achievements the agency had early on was handling all things creatively for Jay-Z and Kanye's Watch the Throne album and tour, from the cover itself to the stage design. So yeah, all these things I just mentioned were handled by Donda. Oh, and they were actually handled by just one person at Donda. Yeah, that was Virgil, the creative director. Aside from Donda, Virgil was madly successful. It partly stemmed from his work at Donda, but also the various side projects he took on, like the creation of the company Pyrex Vision back in 2012, which took the hip-hop world by storm for its Harlem-inspired clothing. Then just a year later, his creation of Off-White, a company that single-handedly cemented Virgil as a creative genius in the fashion industry. Off-White had a very recognizable signature style. It merged street style with high-end luxury. Its shoes known distinctly for the tags hanging off of them and the marker scribbled straight on the shoe. And its furniture and apparel recognized for its minimalist design and blunt statements inscribed directly front and center. A name that Virgil often mentions as the creative inspiration for his work, especially with Off-White, is a man by the name of Jim Joe.
Anyone know who Jim Joe is? He's like way important. Here's like a special edition he did. This is my friend basically who inspires me. He's the friend of mine that sort of gave me the sort of nudge to just like write on things and sort of like don't be precious, and I think this embodies that.
Jim Joe is barely known in the world of fashion and art, and this is mainly because he's managed to keep himself 100% anonymous. Any event that he's required to show himself at, he dresses down head to toe, covering his eyes with sunglasses and even distorting his voice, like he did while speaking at an event at the Brooklyn Art Museum here. To this day, no one has seen Jim's face, so no one knows what he looks like. In 2015, Complex claimed to have finally exposed Jim Joe after they surfaced a photo from Instagram of Matthew Williams, the creative director of Givenchy, posing with a girl and a man who was apparently Jim Joe. However, it was actually later discovered that this was a troll post by Matthew Williams, as Jim Joe was just Matthew Williams' face photoshopped onto Jim Joe. It seems like trolling is something Jim Joe likes to bring with his work. He's most known as a street artist, graffitiing all over Manhattan satirical statements like "no sexting allowed" by a payphone and "shout out to all the people who walk on a sidewalk." However, he's also worked with some big names. We've already seen some of the work he's collaborated with Virgil on, but he's worked with other huge artists like Drake, for example, when he designed the cover for If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, a minimalist cover which showcased Jim Joe's unique and iconic childlike writing, even designing stage backdrops as well as the merch too during Drake's 2015 album run. Another huge artist he's collaborated with is Kanye West. The iconic Yeezus iTunes backdrop seen for the album back in 2013 was drawn by Jim Joe, which shows a clear resemblance to the picture taken for Kanye's interview interview with New York Times that same year. Whether designing for big names or sticking to the underground scene, Jim Joe has developed a cult-like following, doing this all while remaining completely unknown. It seemed we'd finally get to hear and see the real Jim Joe in 2013 when he sat down for an interview with the New York Art Department to promote his exhibition at the Hole in NYC.
Today we're going to be looking at a guy named Jim Joe who doesn't want to be on tape because what he does is illegal.
However, like we've learned, Jim Joe does enjoy a good troll moment.
He's a graffiti artist. You're not Jim Joe, are you?
No, I am.
This is a waste of time.
Clearly, we can see he sent out an imposter to represent him, which is something he's been known to do when asked to appear in the public light. Okay, this is the part of the video where things get weird.
Weird news.
Are you ready for this mega Hollywood blockbuster movie twist?
I am your father.
Before this huge reveal, please throw Josh and I a sub on our channel if you're liking this content. Okay, again, are you ready for this mega Hollywood blockbuster movie twist that I'm about to drop? The big names that Jim Joe's worked with, like Drake and Kanye, are also two artists who have collaborated heavily with Virgil Abloh. Like Superman and Clark Kent, both Virgil and Jim Joe have never actually been seen together in the same place. And ever since Virgil passed, Jim Joe's work has been far and few between compared to the years prior to Virgil's death. So a handful of people do believe that Virgil is actually Jim Joe. If true, it's unclear why Virgil would do this. Perhaps he wanted to continue to explore his love for street art without legal repercussions by creating an anonymous figure. Or perhaps he simply wanted an audience to solely focus on the work of art rather than the person behind it. Whatever the reason, it's hard to 100% deny the claims. Even the way Jim Joe talks sounds a lot like Virgil.
Like a genius, Nate, Job, and Rico. It's like a squad of kids, like in a shop, just like you guys.
Perception of self, my confidence, my just to be comfortable.
If this is true, then Jim Joe is actually the one lurking behind the scenes, indirectly helping Kanye make a name in the fashion world. See, Jim Joe propelled Virgil forward by helping him establish himself with Pyrex Vision and Off-White. Virgil then propelled Kanye forward in fashion by helping Ye establish himself with Donda. So here we're seeing a bit of a domino effect taking place, and it all starts with Jim Joe. However, it's not actually Jim Joe at all, but rather Virgil Abloh, the master orchestrator. Or perhaps Jim Joe is his own man, some random person who managed to connect with huge names like Kanye, Drake, and Virgil, all while remaining completely anonymous and hidden from the public. This isn't the first time someone's made a name for themselves while remaining completely anonymous. Another street artist, Banksy, has managed to do the same thing. Yet unlike Jim Joe, he has shown a glimpse of his face and has a whole Wikipedia page dedicated to him. Another example of such is The Weeknd. Prior to 2011, no one knew who he or they were because he managed to release music and garner up a cult-like following all online through Tumblr. It wasn't until 2011 when he captured Drake's attention from his 3 mixtapes that he'd finally reveal his identity. So it does seem like at a certain point, you can't remain anonymous if you want to make it big. Whoever he truly is, it's hard to not applaud someone like Jim Joe who has done something few and far have been able to. What are your thoughts on Jim Joe? Leave a comment below and please subscribe if you're liking this content.